Today we have on Gabrielle Elyse, and I am so super stoked for this episode.
She came into our lives because she was your acting coach,
Yes.
and she has just so much knowledge for experienced actors, new actors,
Yes.
anyone in this industry, because everyone has their own journey, and it's so cool to kind of hear how she came about falling into the love of acting.
And she's truly an incredible actor. She sprinkles a little bit of Gabby everywhere she goes, which is like super cool. She's put her handprint on so many incredible shows, and we are just so excited to have her on today. Hey, it's Ava,
and Lauren,
and welcome back to
Hold for Sound.
And today we have
Gabrielle
Gabrielle
Elyse.
Oh my gosh.
Gabby,
Hi,
welcome.
babies. I'm good. This is exciting. Seeing you guys
insane.
do your intro was very heartwarming.
Aw,
So
we
That
try.
makes me
You
happy.
guys are sweet.
And like
so
it's
grown.
even crazier that I ran into you yesterday.
I know.
It's insane.
Fate.
It's
Kismet.
fate. For those of you who don't know too, y'all met as acting student, acting coach.
Yes.
So cool.
Yes.
Gabby was my first like experience in the LA world.
That
Like,
honestly
I
makes me
did
happy
that.
because like one of the benefits of having teaching being my survival job is I wish I had somebody as enthusiastic and not to brag, but as experienced as me
Yeah.
as a teacher.
Yeah.
That's literally why we started this podcast, is for people to be like, we were like, give us information,
Yeah.
so that little people like us
Yeah.
know what we're doing.
Well, not little, y'all are grown now, but like, but no, like it's really fulfilling, and it it heals a part of my heart because part of my journey into this was not the greatest. I'm thankful for it now, as you always are, but yeah. So just back to the point of teaching
Totally.
Yeah.
and teaching that particular class is really, really healing
Yeah.
and fulfilling for me. So
Yeah, because I know for me, like, I came out here not knowing a single person, and
Same.
like literally you made me feel so welcomed, and like I just like learned so much from like watching you and like working with you, and now
Good.
like you're here on my podcast. and
you're so you're so grown. I just met you today, but both of you are beautiful young ladies,
Oh,
and look
thanks,
at you making your own
Gabby.
projects as it should be
Yeah.
done.
as it should be done. No,
As it should be done.
It's insane. Okay, so I've heard this story, but take us back to like when you were living in Texas. You started auditioning, and like what was your process of moving out here and beginning to work out here?
So I'm originally from Dallas, and I wanted to be an actor since I knew how to walk and talk. However, my parents were military and medical background, so they were like, we don't know how to cater to a wild child wanting to be an artist. And back in the day, people didn't really have a lot of information about the entertainment industry, just only really bad horror stories. So of course my parents were rightfully cautious, but I was persistent, and I asked every day to be in an acting class. And then finally my mom gave in, and she tried to trick me because I was going into middle school, and it was on Friday nights, and she was like, she's gonna want to go hang out with her friends, she's gonna want to like go to dances and sleep over. So she was like, if you stick to this for 1 year without missing a single class, we will start auditioning locally. And I did.
Wow.
And I think I was like 10 or 11 at that time. And then so I got a local agent, and the local agent introduced me to people who worked in Dallas but were also located in Los Angeles. And so I used to go to a place that had classes and like a manager side, like the manager held classes, and that's how I got here.
It's crazy. So like when did you actually like move here?
Oh god. I just turned 27. I think I moved here when I was like turning 17.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Wow,
so
okay,
9 or
so
10 years.
I
What you
didn't
did.
realize that age-wise like that lined up pretty similarly.
Oh, really?
She turned
yeah, I was
17.
16 when I met you,
Yes.
and then I went home, graduated high school, and
Yes.
moved out at 17.
Well, yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
That
That's
is
cool.
insane.
Yep. And you're doing it by yourself. I had my mom, but thank
got me.
God for my mother. But
I have Lauren. Lauren's my mother. She's also
I
my
am.
wife and my sister.
as it should be. As it should be. Honestly, it's good that you guys have community so young. I don't know what I would do without my mom here when I was that young, because I knew somebody that I was close to at the time who moved out here completely on her own at 16, like had an apartment, had a job, all of this, and I was like,
Yeah.
yikes. I mean, some people
No.
do it for what they love,
I truly didn't know a single person when I moved out here. I met Ava the day I moved in. I didn't know anybody else. I was like, Ava, introduce me to all your friends because I have no friends.
And I
That's the way
did.
to go.
It literally was like, okay, Lauren, today we're going here. We met like 6
I know.
friends. Okay, Lauren, today we're going here. We meet the other 8. It's like now we all have 14 friends. They're all the same friends. We only have the same friend group, and it's collective.
You should keep it that way. When you meet people, introduce them to other people.
Yeah.
It's a good
Always
thing.
do
Like
that.
a lot of people are always like, Gabby, how do you know so many people? And like I will introduce all types of groups together that I've met collectively out here.
Yes.
It's a weird mosh, but like you really never know like who's gonna get along and you know who will connect and who will network.
Truly.
And a really good friend of mine named Sharonis Jackson, he was Dro on Insecure. I don't know his character name on Good Trouble, but he was like the love ingenue.
Oh, cool.
And he taught me Lift as We Rise, and that's what I've kept with me all these years because I thought that was really great. So
Yeah,
Cool.
you lifted me
Yeah.
as you were
Aw.
rising. That's really sweet.
Stop! You're gonna make me cry.
That makes me really
You're gonna make me tear up.
happy.
But thank you.
So when you started working, what were the first projects you worked on, and then like how did you transfer into working on other networks, and how did you kind of find your way doing that?
I was super lucky that I didn't get locked down in the Nickelodeon
Sure.
circuit.
Yeah.
I started out guest starring on Disney. Liv and Maddie was my first ever job.
Cool.
And I was 16 at the time. And it was Austin Alley and then Thundermans for a little while. And I was reoccurring on Thundermans, which was super great because originally I was just like a 2-line co-star.
Yeah.
I cannot remember off the top of my head how I started to be a reoccur, but I think I just got lucky in the world that they were building because I was a cheerleader, and then that same cheerleader character started dating Jack Griffo's character, and then that character became friends with Kira Kosaren's character, and then after I was friends with her, they just kept bringing us back, and that was super, super fun. And then during that time, I booked my first series regular job, which was on Nicky, Ricky, Dicky, and Dawn, and I was contracted to do a couple seasons. Like I was expected to go on for a couple years. And they originally their character that they wrote for me was supposed to be like their babysitter and their go-to person and somebody to mentor them. But I just recently started talking about this because it's important for people in the industry to like be like, oh, that could happen. I was a series regular, and literally the day that they announced that we got renewed for season 2, I get pulled aside to a different room with the producers and the creators of the show. And I thought I was in deep doo-doo trouble. I was like, what did I do? I don't know. And then they told me politely, but like it was still so heartbreaking that they weren't going on with my character for the rest of the seasons. And because just how it worked out is they started to concentrate more on just the quadruplets, and that was it.
Yeah.
And at the time I was 17, 18, I was heartbroken. And honestly, it took me a couple of years to bounce back from, because I was there 20 minutes early every day. I knew my lines and everyone else's lines inside and out. I was the first to go, last one to leave. I knew everybody's names on set since day one. And, I was just super happy and super grateful to be there. And I was like,
Wow.
what? But at the same time, if I hadn't gotten let go of that show, or if that show didn't move in a different direction, I never would have gotten Snatchers, which means I would have never gone to South by Southwest or Sundance and back to South by Southwest again, and I would have never met the people that I know now. And one of the producers of that show, of that movie, just called me back recently to host the Rose Bowl because he was producing it.
Yeah.
And because of that movie, I've gotten a lot of jobs from that team. If I was still a series regular in Nickelodeon, there is no way that I would have been able to do Snatchers. And Snatchers changed my life. So,
Wow.
yeah. And like you guys know, and everyone in this town knows, is like this is not a linear job.
Mm-mm.
And I tell young people like you and younger peers than you as well, like it's not where you study really hard or you work really hard and it's a straight line to a reward or to the next goal. Like it's you gotta bob, weave, go up, down, sideways, zigzag, turn around, do some more spins, dig underground. Like it's tough.
Yeah.
It's the most unconventional job somebody can do, besides the music industry as well, and the dance industry. But yeah, and I think that's what my parents were also very like, well, we don't want you to do that type of thing. But you know, I was that person. I don't compare it, but I make the funny parallel of like, you guys were built for the military, I was built for this, because it takes very distinct people to do certain things. But
which is so interesting. So like, do you know like where you got your artistic side from? Like, did you have like a family member that like aided to that, you think?
Well, my both of my parents are very artistic in their own ways. Like my dad's a wonderful painter and a drawer, and he loves photography. My sister loves to sing and loves music. And then my mother is a phenomenal cook.
Wow. Which is an art in and of itself.
She's an artist in the kitchen. It's crazy. Like she'll just make up recipes in her head, and it's so frustrating on her daughter because these are the recipes that I want to carry on to my kids. And she's like, yeah, I can't remember what I put in there. And I'm like, what am I gonna do? With like certain dishes. But so like there were certain creative things that were always around. I knew from stories that my mom's mom wanted to be a singer. And I don't know, I've never really had like one artist in the family. And then my dad's brother is a cameraman, and he's here and he does all types of shows and stuff like that. Cool. And
so it's in the family.
It's in the family bloodline for sure.
So when you're beginning to work on either like an audition or like say you like book a role, what are some things that you do? I know some of these things.
Yes.
But what
I taught them to you.
You taught them to me, and now I use them in my everyday life. Good. But what are some things you do to get ready to take on a new character?
I coach myself. Not like I coach myself, but I go to a coach myself.
Oh, gotcha.
God, that'd be so cocky if it was like, I coach myself.
I look in the mirror and I go, do this, do this.
Yeah, like I've tried a lot of classes throughout the years. Like I've done Alexander Technique. I did Nancy Banks, which primarily does like theater and like the script breakdowns of things. Sure. UCB, which I'm still in because I'm a huge comedy fan. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, like one of the things that I always have relied on is I just have like a musical ear, especially when it's for comedy, because comedy is very rhythmic and it's very patterned. Totally. So I was very lucky to be able to have that as part of a natural arsenal for me. Mm-hmm. But if it's like something like drama, it's a little tougher for me. Not acting wise, but just prep wise. Mm-hmm. And something that I'm still trying to work out now, actually, because you know, as an artist, your work's never done. Yeah. So I'm now like, I know how to break a script down. I know writer's intent. You know, who, what, when, where, why, people, places, events, and all that good stuff. And now, like, we're just going deeper into characters, like asking character questions, and if I get a script, trying to read that whole thing, and if I do have time, kind of through lining like an overall message or a theme, and kind of identifying like my character's journey and stuff like that. But you know, tips and tricks that I've learned from other classes I've taken. But I do always try to coach with obviously somebody more experienced than me.
Yeah. Sure.
I don't know. I think script analysis is an actor's best friend.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you taught me that.
Yeah.
You like literally, you're the reason why I do that. It's like, and like, I feel like this is like, you haven't seen my work recently.
I
which
know.
Just, like, makes me sad. But like, I used to get so in my head. Remember how like analytical
Yes.
I was? I think I finally figured out how to do the work and then let the work go.
Which is the hardest part.
You helped me with script analysis a lot and like learning to do the work and then be able to let it go. Like, I would always create these worlds with you in class, and then like the entire time in my head, the world is just running, and like the script meant nothing to me. And like now I'm able to be like, okay, the world exists. I created it, and now I'm just living in the world, which is so cool.
I also think the biggest thing that's helped me throughout this year is somebody taught me that like you're not stepping into a character. The character is sticking to you. And then one of my other students was like, yeah, because if you step into character, you're leaving yourself. And you're like, your characters need you to facilitate their story and to speak through you. Yeah. So obviously you have things that the character needs and you need in the character. So it made me feel a little bit less separate and just, I don't know, maybe it's more of a confidence thing. But yeah, I always thought that was I don't know, that resonated deeply with me. It might not resonate with other people.
So interesting too. It's one of my favorite things to just like sit back and be like, so how do you act? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what is your approach? Because we have very different approach. I do method.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, literally.
Wow.
I study method. I do a little bit of Meisner and I do a little bit of Gestalt. And I'll sit there and I'm like, literally.
I love that. I love that you're traditional and more textbook and you are not.
We
really
had
love
this
that.
exact same conversation. It was like, you're not like a textbook person, and I'm like, I'm not, but like it works for me, and it works for the whole like connected to your past and you are the character, whatever. But I find it very interesting, and I'll watch Ava get a script and start doing her character stuff, and I'm like, am I doing it wrong? And then I'm like, no, we all have different approaches.
Yeah.
I mean, like, my approach is going to be very different than like I don't know, Meryl Streep's approach or like Will Smith's approach or things like that.
But I think what's cool too is like the other thing that's like helped me, like that you've taught me too, just like as a mentor, is like the journaling and the music when I'm working on a character. Because like I just got a big avail because of that.
Like,
oh, good.
Like, truly because of that.
Oh, that makes me happy.
I put myself in like major isolation with like my new AirPods Maxes, sponsored by Apple, and
Apple sponsor them.
No, like, literally. But I like put music on like for the character and like just like completely journaled her like world, and then I did one take of the scene and I sent it in, and I was like, what?
That's amazing.
Is going on?
Yeah. I don't know. I find myself very like, in a way, a tactical artist. You know, I mean, Jonah, like I taught you, Jonah Hill makes a playlist for every scene that he's in. And then I started doing it, and it was really great because I used to listen to that before I would walk into audition rooms. Now we just self-tape all the time, which is sad. But, and then journaling was such a great tool for me as a person, that, I mean, my parents, and I used to get in trouble in school for talking all the time. Like my teachers would be like, you named her correctly. And I'd be like, yeah, my parents did. So I'm very like a fast thinking, fast talking person. So like journaling always helped me personally. And once you start putting imagination to paper and just like kind of letting it flow through you, it's just there. It's crazy.
Yeah. And you're able to make like choices, I think, that are more like you don't even think about the choices you're making at that point. It's just your character's just making them, which is really cool.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes me
happy.
That makes me really, really happy.
Okay, I want to know what you're excited about, like this year. What's exciting you this year?
I'm writing, which is fun. Yeah. And I'm ready to just work again.
Yeah. Everybody's there right now.
Yeah. Literally everyone we've talked to, like we're all just like,
we're excited, we're ready. I would love to go back to a festival. I think that's just so fun. There's so many weird and self-expressive things that go to festivals that kind of go under the radar, but those are like my favorite things. And yeah, I mean, just going back to work would be great. I think
we did a kind of what we think 2024 is going to look like, and Ava's like, I think we're going to start to go in person again. And I was like, that would be great, Ava.
Well, no, because I had my first person audition like maybe a month ago for a sitcom. And I was like, what?
It's almost like nerve-wracking now.
It's weird. It's so weird. But like not weird and like going back wise. It's weird because the environment and protocol and behavior has not changed. I sat down, that people that looked like me, none of us talked to each other. Everybody was like still in their scripts, and I'm like, my first person like the thing when I went back, and like it was on the lot in like in an office and stuff like that, which was exciting to me. It was at CBS Radford, and seeing these other girls that look like me, and I'm like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I was nervous too, because it's like one of those old school stories that like you could hear the other person performing, and you're like, and just seeing everybody like just go back into old ways, I was like, this is so typical Los Angeles. It's gross. So like I went in, I just found an empty room, started just going over my lines and stuff, and I was talking to this girl, and I was like, I said something about like this just being so silly, and it's like, you know, everybody's on their way back, like it might be rusty, you know, whatever, but here we are. And it was kind of eerie. I think eerie is the better word for it. And I also like I'm excited because going back in person, especially the waves of the pandemic, put everybody at like equal level.
I think we're like entering like an exciting renaissance.
Yes, I agree.
And that makes my heart really happy, and I think it's perfect timing for that.
Yeah.
I think 2023 was something.
Yeah.
It existed.
And you are so fine. You're going to sit in these waiting rooms and be like, this is so dumb that no one is talking to each other, but they're doing like the fake like good luck, and you're like,
break a leg.
You're like, oh my goodness. But I do. I mean it. But like, it's just so funny because I'm like, after that experience and learning from that experience of like getting let go from our first season, I'm like, it could happen to any of us.
Yeah.
Like, it's not under my control.
And I love
it's
that you're telling it now too, because it is important for
I used
people
to
in this
tell
industry.
no one.
Sure.
That's all.
I told no one.
Sure.
And I mean, I told my class and the people that I'm teaching because it's important to know.
Yeah,
and
100%.
it was definitely like a heart-wrenching experience. And as actors and, you know, as people, you're like, it's my fault. I did something wrong. And
When you have no control over it.
it wasn't. But we survived. Totally, we survived.
Gabby, thank you so much for doing
You guys are so beautiful.
glad
I'm
that
so
you're
happy you
on.
guys are doing this. So I love you guys too.
Okay, where can we find you on socials?
I reluctantly, I am on TikTok. I have a lot of fun on TikTok, unfortunately.
You do. I watch your TikToks.
Thanks, babe. And just my Instagram. It's my name, Gabrielle. That's it.
Yes.
My old PR team hooked me up with that.
That's
so.
great.
That's cool. I'm
no.
one of those.
Everybody's
I'm a
like,
Lauren.
how did you only get one name? And I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, can I just be Ava?
No.
I mean, Persona PR, they're the best. They are the best. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, we love
Amazing.
I love you.
Thanks
I
for
love
being
you.
on.
I love you. Support these women. Support everybody in this room.